Jason says another 458 million of inflows yesterday. How is the price staying tamped? That's a good question. I saw some tweets on that. Like I think the last week, the ETFs bought like 5,000, 4,000, 6,000. And I think every day there's only 450 new Bitcoin being mined right now. So that's a huge spread. That's like 10, 12, 13x every day, more demand than there is supply. So again, the part of this that I don't love, honestly, is that the fact that they're able to rehypothecate a lot of the Bitcoin. If Wall Street never, you have to look at this two different ways. Like if Wall Street never got involved, there wouldn't be any sort of manipulation there. They wouldn't be able to suppress the price. They wouldn't be able to run up the price. If Wall Street wasn't involved and it was just Bitcoin and Bitcoiners, there would be none of that. The price would be so much higher if that were the case. But you also have to keep in mind that if there was no ETFs, the biggest money in the world would not be able to enter the space. And without that demand, without all that capital that's going to flow into Bitcoin, then the price would honestly just stay around like maybe 70, 80, 100, 150 for a very long time. It would go up, obviously, because there would still be more demand than there is new supply. But with the ETFs, with the big capital, the big money coming into this, it's going to shoot the price of Bitcoin higher than we can even imagine in this bull run. So, I mean, everything has trade-offs, everything. And so, yes, it would be better if the ETFs just stayed out of here. No manipulation, no rehypothecation of it, no paper Bitcoin. But then you wouldn't get them into the game. And the demand for Bitcoin would be much lower than it is. So I think we're in a very good place. I don't think that things could be any better than they are right now. But Jason's absolutely right. There's so much demand for Bitcoin right now, and there's zero supply. Just think about this. I was thinking about this yesterday. MicroStrategy has 230,000 coins, which is about 1% of Bitcoin, over 1%. Think about, that's one company. Think about if Apple wanted to do that. There's about, I think there's 1.9 million coins on the exchanges. That's the information we have anyways. So let's say that Apple wanted to go out and catch up to MicroStrategy. They want to buy 250,000 coins. They see what MicroStrategy is doing. They believe in Bitcoin, which they do. Tim Apple owns Bitcoin. So they say, okay, we're going to buy 250,000 Bitcoin. First of all, yes, they might be able to get that out of the available supply, maybe. But try doing that without driving the price up. Honestly, like think about how long MicroStrategy's been doing this for 4 years already in chunks without running up the price of Bitcoin. So that's where MicroStrategy is today. That's where we are today. Even if Apple implemented the same strategy that MicroStrategy is doing right now, it would be at least 4, 5, 6 years down the road for them to even catch up. And that's the disconnect, I think, in a lot of people's minds, is that people think that, if Apple wanted to buy Bitcoin, they could just go out and buy a bunch and catch up to MicroStrategy. They can't. And I don't think that they ever will. Regardless of how much capital they have, regardless of how much cash they have in the bank, if they started buying that and they wanted to do it quickly enough to catch up to MicroStrategy, they would run up the price of Bitcoin and it would cost them even more. So that's a larger percent of their treasury. As they run up the price, that cuts more into their treasury in terms of their allocation percentage. And they have a ton of different stakeholders to be worried about, right? And so the beauty of MicroStrategy is that Saylor is like the guy. He has the majority of influence. So he has a board of directors that he had to convince, but they believe in it. Tim Cook loves Bitcoin, owns Bitcoin himself, but he has so many different shareholders and stakeholders to worry about that he can't just go out and implement that strategy tomorrow. And even if he wanted to, no. Just come hang out. Just have a sit, have a sleep. You're probably pretty tired, I would guess. Just relax. No. So just keep that in mind, right? I really don't think that anybody, you could look at Apple, you could look at Tesla, you could look at Microsoft, you could look at Nvidia. I don't think anybody will ever be able to catch MicroStrategy. And that's like 5 companies. Think about how many corporations, hedge funds are out there that are seeing this and are like, okay, what do we do now? So best case, I think, for Apple, in 4 or 5 years from now, they might be able to catch up to where MicroStrategy is. So then you have even less coins on the exchanges. The supply is even lower. And then Microsoft sees Apple doing that. They see it. That's the whole game theory around this whole thing. That's the corporate game theory. But then you start factoring in countries into this equation. Kind of, it's pretty wild. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. Pretty lucky to be here right now.